The gospel for the second Saturday of Lent is the parable of the prodigal son. And when we're at Mass and we hear the priest or deacon say, Jesus told this parable, a man had two sons, we know it's going to be a long gospel. Or we may think that we've heard this parable so many times we know everything about it. There's two things that have struck me lately about it. One is, it says, this is after the son has come to his senses and he's thinking of coming home. And I've pondered this often for the last year or so. It says, while he was still far off, the father caught sight of him, was deeply moved, and ran to meet him. What that says to me is every day the father must have climbed the brow of the highest hill on his farm and scanned the horizon, hoping that perhaps this day, this moment, this time is when his lost son would return home. Think of how many days he walked back down that hill disappointed, until the glorious day when he actually saw this distant figure and thought, could this be my son? This might be my son. It is my son. And he's deeply moved with compassion. In that moment, he doesn't think of all of the bad things the prodigal son has done. He doesn't think about the betrayal and the hurt that he's caused his father personally. And it says that he runs to his son. In the patriarchal culture of Jesus' time, a father never ran to his children. Children came to him. So here he is discarding his dignity and just running because his heart moves him so to welcome his son home. I can't help but think that that's how Jesus treats us when we come to confession. That if we open our heart even just a little bit to his grace, love, and mercy, he's going to just pour that opening filled with his goodness and his desire to forgive. As much as we want to be forgiven, Jesus desires to forgive us infinitely more. So the prodigal father looking for the son and being moved with compassion. The other thing, and this is a question that is not answered in the parable, does the older son go into the party at the end? We know that the older son is outside, angry that the father's throwing a party for his brother, angry because he feels that he's always been the dutiful son and never got a fattened calf to celebrate with his friends. Does the son walk into the celebration? And there again, we can relate that to confession. Do we walk into the celebration of God's mercy made manifest to us in the sacrament of reconciliation? So here's an experiment. If you don't go to confession once a month, I would ask and invite you to do this. For the next 12 months, go to confession once a month. And at the end of that 12 months, do a personal inventory and ask yourself, am I happier? Am I more at peace? Have I overcome some of my bad habits? Have I been able to eradicate some of my habitual sins? Am I growing in virtue and holiness and joy? If the answer to that question is yes, then keep going to confession. If the answer is no, maybe make a personal appointment with your priest and talk that through. But I've never known anyone who has said, I'm sorry I went to confession so much. I went too much. It's a moment of grace for us. It's a beautiful sacrament that the Lord has given us, and this time of Lent is perfect for us to partake of God's mercy made manifest in the banquet of reconciliation.